A land of endless riches, skyscrapers rising, cars filling the streets, Wall Street overflowing with money. This was America in the 1920s, the land of dreams. But in less than a decade, those dreams turned into ashes. Factories shut down, banks collapsed, families starved, and the world's strongest nation fell into its darkest chapter, the Great Depression. Tonight, we uncover how greed, lies, and chaos destroyed millions of lives, and how this nightmare still haunts us today. The Roaring Twenties. America was booming. Jazz clubs lit up the night. Radios brought entertainment into every home. Automobiles roared down city streets. Behind the glamour, people poured money into the stock market. Bankers promised endless riches. Families mortgaged their homes, convinced they couldn't lose. The rich grew richer, and the poor dreamed they would join them. But this wealth was fragile. A house of cards built on reckless loans, overproduction, and blind faith. October 29th, 1929, Black Tuesday. The stock market imploded. Over 16 million shares were dumped in a frenzy. Fortunes vanished in hours. Men who had been millionaires in the morning were penniless by night. Panic spread like wildfire. People rushed to their banks, desperate to withdraw savings, only to find the money gone. Banks had gambled it away. Across America, silence fell. Factories closed. Streets emptied, and the American dream collapsed into dust. By 1933, unemployment reached nearly 25%. That's 1 in 4 Americans without work. Cities turned into graveyards of industry. Families who once lived in comfort now begged for bread. Children stood in endless soup lines, clutching empty bowls. Whole neighborhoods of shacks sprang up, called Hoovervilles, mocking President Herbert Hoover. Families huddled in cars, in tents, in anything they could find. Farmers, too, faced ruin. Prices for crops crashed so low that harvests were left to rot while people starved. Then came the Dust Bowl, towering storms of sand that buried homes and fields, driving families off their land. The land of opportunity had become a land of despair. But the Great Depression wasn't just America's tragedy. It spread like a virus across the globe. Germany's economy collapsed, unleashing chaos and opening the door for Adolf Hitler to seize power. Austria's banks failed. Britain's people stormed their banks in panic. Nations raised tariffs, cutting off trade, and strangling economies even further. The world was sinking into darkness. And in that darkness, extremism thrived. The seeds of World War II were being planted, watered by the fear and anger of millions betrayed by their leaders. When survival becomes impossible, crime always rises. Desperate fathers stole bread to feed their families. Bank robberies skyrocketed. Gangsters like John Dillinger became folk heroes. Men who robbed the very banks that ordinary people blamed for their suffering. In America's cities, hunger riots broke out. In the countryside, farmers armed themselves against foreclosures. Society itself was breaking apart. Then came 1933. A new president, Franklin D. Roosevelt, took office. His message was simple: hope. Through his New Deal, Roosevelt created jobs, built dams, bridges, and roads. He regulated banks, assuring people their money was safe again. Slowly, painfully, America began to rise. But recovery was fragile. By the late 1930s, unemployment still haunted millions. The Depression refused to die. The true end didn't come with politics. It came with war. In 1939, World War II exploded. Nations demanded food, weapons, and machines. Suddenly, America's silent factories roared back to life. Millions found work again. Not building dreams, but building tools of destruction. By 1941, when America itself entered the war, the Depression was over. But the price of recovery was bloodshed on a global scale. The Great Depression lasted a decade. It reshaped nations, toppled governments, and gave birth to dictatorships. It showed that wealth can vanish overnight, that even the strongest nation can crumble when greed and fear collide. So here's the haunting question. Could another Great Depression strike again? With fragile banks, global debt, and economic bubbles everywhere? Are we standing on the edge of another collapse? History has a way of repeating itself. And when it does, will we be ready?